Hey, what's up?
Hey man, what's going on?
So, we're supposed to be doing this retro show thing. Talking
Are
about
we?
retro games.
Are we? Are you sure?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think we're supposed to be talking about like all things cool and video gamey and that kind of thing. But I keep forgetting what the heck were we gonna call this show again?
Calling all retro gamers, welcome to Karg.
Calling all retro gamers.
Calling all retro gamers.
Calling all retro gamers.
Calling all
retro
retro
gamers.
What's going on, everyone? It's Rich Haywood here from Bacon Ice Cream Productions and Team RTFC, welcoming you to Calling All Retro Gamers. What's going on? Got my main man Ed right here. What's going on, Ed? Retro Cool 9. What's up?
Doing awesome. Super pumped. Super happy to be here. It's been a long journey, but we're finally doing it. So it's awesome, man.
That's it. Yeah, it has literally been a long road to getting this show off the ground. We've been kicking around this idea for literally months, and it's pretty cool. I'm excited. I'm a little tense to see how this is going to go. But I think we're just gonna relax. We're gonna start like talking about some cool stuff and having a good time. So how are you doing? How are you doing tonight?
Doing awesome. Super pumped. Very very happy to be off of work. Nice chill week and everything. And looks like we have some people in the chat. Hey Nalto, thanks so much for stopping by and joining us. And
hey, how's it going? Yeah, we got all sorts of cool
Appreciate it,
people
dude.
in the chat, right? So we got Nalto, we got this fine guy right here, Panda Sub,
Who's
Panda
that?
Sub 2000. I know.
Who's that?
guy? Who's the guy? He's in our intro video or something. Yeah.
Might be.
What's going on, Panda? How's it going? But yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's been a crazy week here, over in my neck of the woods too. Yeah, we're just getting ready, just kind of like wrapping stuff up right before the holidays. You know what I mean? Doing all that kind of stuff at work and all that kind of fun business. But it is now time to start talking and chilling. Glad everyone is here. We got some cool topics for you tonight. We just want to kick it off with a topic about the show itself and how we got here. So, why are we doing this? Why are we doing Calling All Retro Gamers?
I don't know. I've been asking myself that for a while. No, for real. Okay, so here. So let me start on this. So, y'all may know that me and Rich do Evercast, but it wasn't. But believe it or not, it wasn't always like that. For quite a while. How long were you and Pete doing Evercast, and it was just you two guys?
Oh man, that was a while. It was a long while. I think we were going on for almost 6 or 7 full months before anyone else joined. So yeah, we were doing Evercast for a really long time. We made it all the way through from June, late July, or early July. I think it was early July, all the way through the end of the year. We did our end of the year predictions and the show that we just recapped last Saturday.
Nice.
Yeah, with just us, and I want to say it was February or something like that.
Gotcha,
February or March, where you joined the crew, and then it was a short time later we had Crow come on in.
Yes. Well, because I bring that up because I found you through Pete and also Crow. Watched kind of watched you guys for a while, and I've talked about this, but for all our new viewers out there, I'll bring it up real quick. And then on a whim, I just kind of reached out to Pete, and I think I wrote him like a manifest, and I just kind of said something like, "Hey, I want to make a video with you or do something." And then he's just like, "Hey, why don't you come on?" And then I think he told you maybe like a day before the show, "Hey, Ed's gonna join us. Is that cool?" And so we just kind of met, and then after a while, I got to know Rich, got to watch his videos and everything, and then I feel like when I really got to know you is when I saw the Old Man and the Sequest.
Oh yes, yeah,
and all that, and I just kind of saw that someone else who just had passion for retro games and stories, and I could relate a lot. And then just I don't know, one day I just reached out to you and just said, "Hey, we should we should do a show. And then I think it kind of organically just kind of came.
That's right. Yeah. We started kicking around ideas and doing all that kind of stuff. And we were actually like literally just about to do a launch earlier. And then life got in the way. Darn that Ida. Just came in and wrecked house. So yeah, that kind of put everything on pause, right? So, but I will say this, like why do this show? It's because it's another chance to sit around with friends and just talk cool games with them. And, whether it's in the chat or whether it's guests later on, hint, hint, or if there's anything else going on. Oh, hey, what's up, Ian?
Ian!
But yeah, so whether or not it's any of those things, we just wanted to kind of get that's awesome.
Hey, Ian, sorry, Ian, just for you, Retro Kill Dash 9, just for you, buddy.
That's awesome. That's
Sorry.
awesome. So, it's just a cool, cool hangout, right? This show is kind of like what I envision it to be, is just let's just chill and hang out and talk topics that maybe don't fit in the Evercast mold. Like we can talk about things that aren't Evercade, right? Like we can talk about all of the things that are surrounding us right now. We can talk about Atari and Intellivision and Nintendo and Sega, about those things and all of the tertiary things that go along with it. The modern and the retro, about those companies, right? Because all of these guys are active. They're doing all sorts of crazy things, and sometimes we want to talk about stuff that just doesn't fit in there. So like, let's just get there and get in there and chew on these cool stories and hang out with you guys.
Yeah. Well, not only that too, because then when we were like discussing show ideas, we would talk about stuff and something would be in the news, or retro news, and we'd be like, oh man, that would be I want to talk about that.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, basically because you said our channels are so focused on like Evercade, Master System, other things that we want to we want the freedom to be able to talk about all the awesomeness and retro goodness that's out there. And our original channels aren't going anywhere. We're still giving them all the love and attention.
Yep.
So this is a bonus.
absolutely not. Yeah, we are totally going to be doing all our stuff on both sides of the equation. But this is more like a let's chat not only with each other but with you guys, right?
Yeah.
With the chat. So you guys have a topic you want to talk about. You have something that's like that you really want to sound off on. Just jump right in and like and talk with us, which would be really, really cool. But I do want to also say thanks to Ed right now, not only for pushing this and pushing me over the finish line to get this thing out, but also thanks for just kind of like being there for all of that time that happened, when we were just having that idea, and then that little storm came to town. Just thanks, man. Thanks for being there, and thanks for hanging out and talking with me. We talked about all kinds of stuff throughout that time, and that is what brings us to me here today, is because we can have this conversations and chill and have a good time. So thanks, man. Thanks for being there.
No, thank you for
it's too cool.
Thank you for being a friend. No, seriously, thanks for being there for me too. And that's the other thing too. This channel was born out of a friendship.
Yes, absolutely.
Because you were looking for a while, kind of wanted to do this, and I've just been looking to do
sure
some type of live show podcast for a while.
Yeah.
And so it's just like it works out awesome, man. So
absolutely. And for this is a long time coming too, because part of the genesis of the name of the show is directly tied to an old blog of mine from literally decades ago. So this goes way back, which is awesome.
We have to thank real quick too.
Yes.
For everyone who's in the chat or watching us, thanks to everyone who did contribute to the intro.
That's
and
right.
Who went ahead and took the time to read the email. And it's a living and breathing thing. We hope over time to get more people who want to contribute and do more revisions of it and all that.
Yeah, we kind of want to make this kind of a shtick, right? So every once in a while, every couple of months or whatever, we'll just mix up all the people that are in the intro, and then anyone that we can get, if we have a special guest, we get them to do a calling all retro gamers during an interview or something like that, we're going to throw them right in the mix. Panda Sub there. If you talk about Evercade, would that technically be an MCU crossover of gaming channels? I think so, my friend. And we might have to start threading storylines between this show and the Evercast, because that would just be hilarious.
Yeah.
So I think we've done that. We've now answered the question, why do this show? So let's go on to a different question.
All right. Let's dive in.
What game defines you?
Ooh, okay.
So let's kick that off, Ed, and let us know exactly what that means to you.
Okay.
And then let's go.
So yeah, let me expand on it since it's my question. So pretty much it's what retro game defines you, from your childhood that you feel like has made you the person today. And the reason I say, it's kind of person and not gamer, because all of us who are into retro games and still like retro games as adults, there's a nostalgia fact. So it doesn't even have to be a good game. It doesn't even have to be a favorite game. It was just, you kind of had like that aha moment where you saw that game. You're like, oh. So I will go ahead and start specifically kind of what I mean by that, if y'all haven't guessed. And for me, it's the Legend. It's definitely the first experience is Legend of Zelda, and I'll put / Shadowgate because it kind of went in there. And kind of more specifically, this can make me sound old, but I know y'all can relate. But Zelda was like one of those games where you're thrown into a world, no instructions. In the beginning, you have to go find your sword. And when I saw like, oh, you could just bomb there and open a secret door. You can burn that bush and go in here. It was just great, and the freedom to roam around and go anywhere. So that just, and I say for me, kind of, one of the games that defines me, because it's like one of those games where you really had to think. And that's why I also kind of bring up like Shadowgate in that same realm, even though I said that later, where you're just thrown kind of thrown into this chaos and have to figure it out. Because funnily enough, kind of fun fact to add to that, the alarms that I have set on my phone to wake me up is the theme to Legend of Zelda and actually the Shadowgate. Because it's kind of like you're waking up every day exploring a new world. So that's kind of what it means to me is, hey, you gotta go out there in life, you gotta explore, you can be your own person, figure things out, life is a mystery. But it was just incredible at that time, because sure, like prior to that, played like Adventure on Atari and all that, but you could only get like a bridge, right? You could get keys, you couldn't there weren't secret doors and like all these like secrets and all that. And the way that it was presented, where there was like a secret book, in the instructions, but you had to open it. And then, back then it was before the internet, and you had to talk to your friends, and it was really a lot of tribal knowledge. So I think that's also kind of part of it is, as a community coming together and figuring things out. So,
nice.
And when we have guests, that'll probably be a question that we'll ask everyone. I think it's a fascinating question.
100%. I totally agree. And yes, it's kind of the reason we're introducing these topics, so we can answer them ourselves, right? So that way, when we do have friends that come over and stop by the channel, we can ask those specific questions and get those cool answers.
Ooh, thank you, Panda. He said Zelda is a solid call, such an imaginative game, exploration wonder, solid pick. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so no, it totally is. It totally is.
So what's your pick, Rich?
So what's my pick to what game defines me? I think in many ways it is a title that is kind of off the cuff. It's not one of those titles that is like, oh, it's got to be in the pantheon. It's got to be, like lifted up on Game of the Year altars or anything like that. But it is something that definitely defines me in a number of ways. And that game is Air Sea Battle on the 2600. And the reason why is because it's the game that not only was a game that I played by myself in my room just hanging out, it was the game that came out when my friends and family came over all the time. It was the game that, I've told this one a couple times, but led to a near 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning gaming session that we couldn't stop, just couldn't stop playing. He's gonna say Bubsy. That's awesome.
he's ruining your emotional moment.
So, but it was also the game that I called back to when I was in high school, and got to develop a game of my own. Right, I took a programming class. It was one of the very first ones that was ever offered in my high school, and it wasn't supposed to be a game programming class. In fact, the final project was supposed to be a calculator, but I had dedicated myself to learning object-oriented programming so much so that I was able to quick develop in a couple days a near carbon copy in true BASIC on the Macintosh, a copy of Air Sea Battle. But why did I choose Air Sea Battle? I could have made Space Invaders, I could have made Defender, I could have made Berserk, I could have made Pac-Man, I could have made whatever. I made Air Sea Battle. And why? Because I wanted to make a game that I could sit down with someone else and just play and enjoy at the same time. And it was the first game that popped into my head. And when I did it, I got exactly the reaction that I was looking for, because my teacher, Mr. Park, if you're out there, thank you for let me doing this in the first place, but then two, not only encouraging me to do this, to do the game, but sit down and play it with me, which is awesome. So that, you want to know what game defines rich. It's Air Sea Battle, because it's always there. And
did you get an A?
You know what? I got at first, I submitted my project and he gave me a B. And I was like, why are you giving me a B? I made a video game. And he's like, yeah, and it calculates score, but if you want an A, I want a scoreboard. And I was like, okay. It was like, you have until the end of the week. It was like a Wednesday or whatever. So the next 2 periods, all I did was try to calculate a high scoreboard, and then I made it. And then he's like, okay, cool. Now you get your A. Let's sit down and play. Which is
that's awesome. Do you think?
Yeah, it was really cool.
It would be super cool if you had that like lying around on a floppy somewhere.
Oh,
I don't even know how you'd run it.
That would be right. I'd have to find some old Macintosh computer and like do a lot of it's
you probably emulate it or something. Yeah, just throwing that out there.
Yeah, no, very cool. It was really cool. So,
but that's awesome. No, because I know too. You've told other stories where like you and your friends and family played that game late, and like one of y'all, maybe you should tell that one of y'all would take turns talking, getting your uncle to talk so that you all could like stay up late and like play that.
yeah So that's how we got to like that 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. We just literally kept sending people out of the room during our game session, because it's a 2-player game, but there were 3 of us, right? So one of us would be the runner, and we would take turns going into the room to talk to my uncle. My uncle was someone that he is still to this day just a talker. If you want to get him going, you just ask him about something and then let him run. Even if you're not a part of the conversation, you could walk away. He'll still be going with whoever else is in the room. And then you walk back in, you'd be like, oh, hey, Uncle Ken, what about this? And then he'll just take it and run with it. So we kept sending somebody out to ask some other question, because somebody else would be like, oh, hey, 5 minutes, guys, we gotta go. We gotta go home. And then it was like, all right, ready? All right, cool. Kristen, go. And then she'd go out and be like, oh, hey, Dad, what about this? What about this? Did you tell him that story? And then boom, he'd go right off for another half hour, and then we would just get another half hour game time. It was awesome. It was
that's fantastic, totally cool. and that's exactly the answer I'm looking for. To have like that, that of an emotional impact, stories, that much of an experience. So, and if anyone in the chat wants to share anything, or if y'all are watching this on replay, put on your comments below. Share with us your stories. Share with us your stories, because we love stuff like this.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's literally what this is all about, right? Which is cool. So I think that's gonna do it for that particular section. So we're gonna look for more stories, and we're gonna look for those stories about collections. And collections, what is your story about collections? So what that mean is like, so what do you collect? How did you get into it? What, if anything, do you want back? If you had a collection, you lost something, what is the history behind it? And do you have any regrets? Lots of things to talk about. So yeah, go ahead, man.
How much time do we have? Oh,
yeah,
okay,
right.
So no, I definitely, and I've made a few. Actually, I talked about that. I made a few videos on this. One for collections, the elephant in the room. Obviously, Evercade that's back. Obviously, I collected, but other than that, I had to mention. Mm-hmm. So, and I kind of talked about this for a while, but so I had some GameCube games. Oh, and actually, so tying in with this. So actually, I have a gamer confession of tying with this. So,
okay,
there was a point in time a few years ago where I was like, you know what? you know, that's why I said, you know, why do I need a GameCube and a Wii? I'm like, I have the Wii. I can play all my GameCube games. I really don't need a GameCube. So this was maybe 5+ more years. I actually ended up, you know, I didn't throw it away, but at least I donated my GameCube with like the base connections to Goodwill. So kind of,
Nice.
you know, because at the time, so at least, so hopefully somebody else out there is getting joy from it. So at least I can still play that. But so the reason I bring this up is I've had, you know, kind of a small collection of GameCube games, a few, like, you know, a couple Dreamcast, maybe like one or so PS1 games, you know, lying around. And I've had those for just quite a while, kind of, you know, gathering dust. And my Wii is, you know, soft modded. So if I really want to, I can, you know, it's like an FPG. I can play any, you know, if I downloaded something from the dark side of the net, I could, you know, play anything as well. But you know, I haven't touched it in a while. And then, you know, with the, you know, COVID and everything going on, I noticed that, you know, GameCube prices, you know, have gone up, you know, like everything, but particularly GameCube is hot. Dreamcast is hot. And like on the Dreamcast, I like Skies of Arcadia, which is like a near mint. That's like a real popular game. And then like on the GameCube side, I have like your Mario parties and some other heavy hitters that I can't that I can't remember. So when you were talking about regret, yeah, you know, I'm one of those gamers that you know, I wish I still hung on to my Nintendo, Super Nintendo, all that stuff. But you know, I was one of those kids, and I can't remember who tweeted it out there talking about their collections. I was one of those kids who grew up where, you know, I want to say like at any point in time, like, I mean, I'm not saying I owned every single Nintendo or Super Nintendo game, but at one point in time, like I owned a lot of the heavy hitters. I'm sure a lot of y'all did too, because you'd play a game, you'd hustle, you'd trade with your friends. Some things like let's say Street Fighter 2 RPGs, you know, I would keep those. But at that time, we weren't thinking about keeping games that we'd want to play again 10 years from now. It was like, what was cool, what was hot. You know, I regret that like I sold my Atari 2600 at a garage sale, but you know, you would sell things to get like, you know, Super Nintendo. So anyways, kind of fast forward. It's like, yeah, the Evercade is cool and all, but there's certain titles, like certain Nintendo titles that will never go to that system.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
So like I would never have a way to get it. And so I kind of looked around, and there's this place called Game Over Games. There's, you know, and so I thought, okay, I'm just going to go in there. I'm going to bring all my games. You know, worst case scenario, I don't have to trade them in and all that. Because the other thing too that was important to me is that like I didn't want to just go down a road and start sinking in like tons of money, because then you can have regret. Which actually, well, without going too off on a tangent, I've done that before. I don't know if you remember, like when Magic the Gathering Online was really hot, like back in the day. I'm not going to go into too detail, but at one point I like had turned around. I've spent $600 or so on just this digital like nothingness. Like I kind of felt like I invested it know, it was just kind of like all this. Like luckily I was able to like sell it on eBay and get my money back, but I didn't want to have, you know, kind of like feeling of regret. Everybody collects things for different reasons. For me though, I generally like to at least use the stuff or look at it. You know, you don't want to, it's, you know, it's always the balance between being a hoarder and collector. Anyways. Yeah, you can imagine.
I still know a little bit about that.
Yes, I still have some of those, and yeah, sometime we'll have, so maybe another show we can talk more about that. It is a retro game. We can talk more about that. But anyway, so I didn't know the thing is I didn't know what I was looking for, and I went in mistakenly on a Saturday. I kind of felt bad because it was busy, and like the guy had to like try all my games, because you know when you have like some like heavy hitter titles and stuff that they need to make sure that it works. The discs aren't scratched, and so. You know, and I'll be transparent. So according to price charting, I calculated that like if I got top retail, it would have been worth like $600, and that's if I were to go sell everything, no eBay fees, no shipping, and that was just kind of so. For trading credit, you know, I got like around like it's like $400 or $410. I just wanted at least more than half. Yeah, sure. Because you know, and then to kind of move things a little forward, they had a few different locations, and then when I went to another location, you know, I'll take the game out. You know, I saw this guy here, and it's pretty scruffy looking and you know, and beaten up. And again, so the thing is, it was credit, so it's not like using real money, but at the same time, you don't want to just.
Yeah, of course,
you know?
Of course.
And when I kind of saw it, and you know, it is scruffy, but I was like, you know what? I was like, do I really care that it's cosmetic? Just, you know, as long as it plays, it just means that it was loved a lot, and then I could actually put it in my pocket. And then what did it for me is when they had a copy of Tetris.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the you know the
yeah,
perennial.
And so from that point on, I was which kind of ties into another topic, but we're going to talk about. But
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'll exchange it for, because I wasn't sure what I was looking for. I never owned an SP, but the guy at the counter was really cool. They had like regular Game Boy Advance, Game Boy. He let me, he had batteries, let me try them all. And I guess being older, like the screens were like difficult for me to see. And putting that in, I was actually impressed how good the front like LCD light is. So for me, it's kind of like, I've always heard GBA being like the Super Nintendo. They also had like Link to the Past, like R-Type 3. So I was, I spent like half of my store credit, got a bunch of things, and then during the months later on, I would kind of go back, and it was kind of really fun part of the hunt, getting stuff. And then I also found like the first Super Mario World, which for nostalgia, or Super Mario Land, I'm sorry, for nostalgia, I wanted that. And then like I ended up getting the second one, and some of those other like Mario Advance. So it kind of got a few of the heavy hitters from from my childhood. But it was interesting because once the credit was gone, then I was cool with that. I kind of got out of my system. The VS and everything came along. But yeah, that was kind of my journey.
Nice.
So
that's cool. That's very cool. No, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, I have an epic journey myself, right? So I started, real young. I had a 2600, and then I had a 7800, and then my parents kind of just put the kibosh on all gaming inside of the house. After that, they're like, "You've got two. You've got a whole bunch of games. You're good." And I was like, "Can I have an NES? No. Can I have a SNES? No. What about Sega Genesis? No. None of those things." So I asked. No. Then finally I asked, and then my dad said, "All right, you know what? When you get a job, you can go and do whatever you want with your money because you earned it. You can do whatever you want." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I was like, "Oh, well, right now I don't have any money." I was like, just, like preteen, 13, 14 at that point. And I was like, "Well, I got all these games. I got now two 7800s from a weird story that maybe we'll talk about later." I was like, "What am I going to do with one of my 7800s?" And I was just like, I wasn't thinking about it. And my buddy, who was from France, had a Sega Master System. And he was like, "I don't like my Sega Master System anymore because now I have a Genesis and I have a Super Nintendo and I've got all these things. I don't need this thing anymore." And every time I went over, I was fascinated with the Master System, not necessarily the SNES and the Genesis, the Master System. I was always asking him to play. And he's like, finally, he was like, "You know what? I really want an Atari because I want to explore those old games. Like, do you have an extra one?" I was like, "I do, actually. I have an extra 7800. And he's like, "I'll trade you." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "What do you want to trade?" He's like, "Well, I'll trade the Master System and every Master System game I have for your 7800. I'm like, "Well, what about the games? You want some games?" And he's like, "Yeah, I mean, you can give me a couple games." And I'm like, "Okay." So to make it sweet for him, I went through and I had a ton of doubles because I had a whole big collection. And then when my cousins got out of playing their Atari, they gave me their collection. So I had doubles of everything. And it was all the heavy hitters. It was, it was Pac-Man and Berserk and Space Invaders and all that kind of stuff. So I loaded them up and was like, "Here's all my games. Here's the 7800. Here you go. Get my Master System." And now I have his games. And he had Phantasy Star and Miracle Warriors and a whole bunch of other like great games, including like Ghostbusters, and he even had like Monopoly and Golden Axe and like all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, sweet, this is awesome. So like, now I'm playing these games. Now I want more. So then it's like, when you're the little kid, you're doing leave raking for money. You're doing odd jobs and culling together your allowance. And then you go to Toys R Us and you hit that wall, and no one bought Master System, so they're all on clearance. So you're buying games like, what else did I get? Oh, I found a copy of Double Dragon out there for the Master System. I found a copy of this other game, Zillion. I found Zillion out there. And then you find a game like Golden Axe Warrior, right? And you get that, and you're like, "Oh, sweet. Let me go in and play that." And then it's like, you find a game like that, it's like the love.
But what's so cool though about that, but what makes that story extra special, awesome, is that like in Europe, we know like the Master System was huge. Yeah, it wasn't too big here, but like Atari was huge. So it was really cool that y'all got to trade. And
yeah, it was definitely like the swap thing.
Ian shared.
He's got a whole bunch of shares.
Yeah.
Let's dip into this real quick. Played an Atari 2600 with my cousin back in the day. Then my late grandmother bought a Famicom for the cousins to share. That's awesome.
Yeah, a Famicom, that's nice. Not a Nintendo, a Famicom. That's super cool.
Yeah. Didn't like it at first because the D-pad didn't find the D-pad cool. Joystick was better. So then they placed a Adventure Island cart. Each of us were trying the game for first time, watching everyone play. I was holding a skateboard mainly, and then it was my turn. Started playing. First egg, got the axe. Second egg, it was a skateboard. I'm on the video game with a skateboard. This is cool. Yes, yeah, that was cool. That defined me instantly. That was the moment Nintendo got me. That's an awesome story.
Nice. And that's
an awesome
share. The Adventure Island series is really cool too. So that's
Yeah, that was really cool.
That is awesome, man.
And then Ian, that was awesome. Yeah, I did tell that story about the Atari SMS swap on the Chalkwalk, in front of actually the buddy's house, that where he used to live. I shot that scene right outside his house, or his old house anyway, which was really awesome. But yeah, so what happened to me after all that, right? So I get that thing and I'm playing all these great games and I'm like, oh sweet, is I get a job. And then it was all over. As soon as I got my job at Toys R Us. And they allowed you to cash your check by buying something in the store. So I was like, well, let me buy this one game here because it's on clearance, and I kept my check money here, and I go across the street to Funko Land and then bought an NES. And then the next week I bought, like 6 or 7 NES games. And then the next week I went by and bought an SNES. And then I went by the next and got a whole bunch of Super Nintendo games. And then once I got the Genesis, it was just about the time they started like really pushing out from the warehouse all the clearance stuff for 32X and Sega CD. So right after I got the Genesis and a whole bunch of Genesis games, they dropped the price of the 32X and the Sega CD to like $30 a piece. So then I'm buying brand new Sega CD Gen 2 and the 32X, and then I had the Tower of Power.
Dude, right? I remember that when things like Virtual Boys were like going for like $50 or less at clearance. Yeah. Even like Nintendo 64s, they were like going like because at that time, like we didn't want them. We didn't, we didn't care. We just wanted the latest like shiny thing. Like when PlayStation came out, forget about it. We didn't.
Right. Exactly. So they now like collecting selves or just like kicking ourselves for not like getting in on that stuff. But I had all that stuff, right? And then I went to Electronics Boutique and EBX and GameStop and all that kind of stuff. That back in the day when there was you go to the big mall and there's probably 7 game stores in it. I'm going to all these things, picking up all these weird obscure titles because no one wants them, right? And no one wanted the 32X stuff. They were clearance down, pre-owned to like dollars. Sega CD games the same way. I got a copy of Lunar the Silver Star on Sega CD for like $16 or something like that, pre-owned. Fell in love with that game. Then I'm like, wow, I found out there was a sequel. I got to get that. Wound up calling Working Designs, buying the last copy off the shelf at Working Designs of Lunar 2 Eternal Blue. I was like, fell in love with that kind of thing. And of course, once you're in the, now I'm approaching 18, 19, 20, you've got money to spare. Then the PlayStation is newly out. I graduated in 97. It had been out a couple of years. I get a PlayStation. I start collecting those kind of things, and I didn't really collect to collect. I collected to play. Right? Yes, I wanted all these games because I wanted to play them. So I had all these RPGs because I was a huge RPG nut. I'm still an RPG nut to this day, and that's how I just kept going. Then I moved to Florida. My family moved to Florida. And in order to get back up to the Jersey area, I had to shave off a couple of things. And in fact, I had to shave off nearly almost all of my entire initial video game collection. That was regret number one. Was doing that in order to move. If I could have found a way of saving maybe a couple more paychecks and then keeping all that stuff to bring it back with me to New Jersey when I returned, I think I would have done it. I think I would have done it because now Rich is saying to old Rich, "What did you do? What did you do?"
See, you know what? It's funny that you mentioned that because, like, we talked about the flood or whatever. It's like that you can accept more because it was just like an act of nature or whatever. Right. But like the fact that like we willing Lee Solder, like we did it to ourselves. Like to me, that's
Yes.
like that's more difficult to come to terms with. Although the good side of it though is maybe that's what fuels our passion as adults, right? Because maybe if we still had that stuff, maybe we just would have been just like, okay, this is my collection, not pursued it. So maybe that's the good thing is now we're
yeah, that's true. I mean, well, then they, I moved back up to Jersey, like more life happens. I get a little older. I didn't have that stuff anymore, but then I wanted to harken back. And what I harkened back to was my original set. I didn't go back, initially to get my Genesis, my Sega CD, and all that kind of stuff back. I went back for the Atari first, and then an Intellivision because my uncle had one and I wanted one. And then I got into the collecting thing because like I fell in love with the cover art again and started doing collecting complete in box games and all that kind of stuff. And then that leads to the dawn or rebirth of Bacon Ice Cream Productions and Good Times with Retro Rich, right? Because now I have all these games behind me and I can play them all and it's awesome, right? I don't have a regret about the storm. I mean, it's just the storm.
Well,
happened.
yeah. Well, that's what I mean. That's just life because in that situation, it's like cool. Me and my family are good. It's like you didn't choose that. You know what I mean? So that's like like to me, like that's like a lot more accepting. But you know what? It's part of being human. We all all live and learn. But there is one thing I will say that there's something fun about going to an actual like retro game store now. That we took for granted as a kid and actually finding some of the stuff in the wild as opposed to getting it off eBay. So that is like another cool.
Right. Yeah. And you know what's going to happen now? Like now that so it's going to be a little bit of stasis. Collecting for me is now a complete stasis because I'm in a place where I can't trust the place anymore. Right. I got burned now twice with, specific personal possessions. The first storm, because I lived in this house for Irene, right, which was another flood. But we did have some warning for, but we didn't even know how bad it was going to be. And we got some water enough that, it took out some of the stuff that I'd had from, like collectible card game stuff, right? But I'd saved all my electronics for that storm.
Oh, yeah. Hey, we had a new person in the chat.
Yep. Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
Lorena. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not sure what that,
Yeah, I was gonna say they could expand on what they.
Yeah. But hey, welcome. But yeah, getting through that, it hurt, but the thing that turned us around, and again, it's another huge thank you, right, to anyone that's watching this that knows, from here, from the Bacon Ice Cream side of things. Thank you guys again, because it was you guys that really helped like soften the blow. Because when that happened, a lot of things was like, oh, well, that derails basically everything that I'm doing, literally everything. But to be here before the end of the year, the storm happened the first week in September. For me to be here and to be talking with friends and chilling and talking about video games and, like being able to continue to do the Evercast, having the Evercade games back, having a machine to do it on, a microphone, a camera, like that kind of stuff. That was you guys. That was all you guys, right? If you were part of the 50, 60 plus people that were in that thing to help me out, thank you. Just thank you, because it was just awesome.
It's amazing how awesome the community is, right?
Never before have I ever met an amazing set of people than in this retro game community. And
this show tonight is proof of that, because it's kind of funny because I forget at one point I'm like, do you think we'll be able to do it this year? And I kind of kept pushing that. And, hey, it's the last of December, but that was like, I'm like, we can get Karg out before the end of the year. Then that's just
and it's awesome. And you know what? I told Ed before the show, a couple weeks ago, actually, if we can do this show, and it could be you and me and literally no one else, and it would still be okay. But if we get one person to sit here and hang out with us as we're doing this, it would make it all worth it. And there's way more than one. So thank you. Just thanks for chilling with us, and thanks for hanging out. But yeah, as far as the collections go, will I keep going? Well, the one thing that will never stop is the Evercade collection, of course, right? We got to continue to do the Evercast. So every time those new collections drop, there's going to be two new ones coming through the door, because we got to do it, right? Plus I love it so much, right? The Evercade is just an awesome little system. But it is it is cool.
We should have a podcast where we talk about nothing but Evercade.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
but I know what you mean though. Like this guy, like I think I'm at a point now where it's like I'm selective. Like if there's certain things that I want, it's going to definitely be like for nostalgia. Which actually, if you wouldn't mind, I do want to. I think it rolls into our next topic, which which I like to call Game Quest. So it's like, was there a game that was so nostalgic to you that you had to like play it a certain way on a certain hardware or something else?
Yep.
And I've talked a little bit about it. So mine was Tetris. And so let me explain and elaborate on that. So, as you all know, playing like emulation on a PC, it's like, it's just that, it's just, if you don't really get anything of it, you get to play the game, sure. But for me, I wanted to play it in the handheld mode. So I tried emulators, on my phone, and as you can see, like there's no joypad, right? So I tried that version, and not only is it just like, I don't know, like like kids that grew up today, like my daughter, like she plays Roblox, like they're used to touch screens. Well, we're not. So there was that, and then as I've gotten older, I don't like to see like Game Boy games in black and white. I like a little bit of color. I don't know what it is. It's easier on the eyes. So there was also that. And then nobody out there even makes like in the Android store. I know like at one time EA had a kind of like semi-decent version of Tetris, but like they have all these Tetrises with all these modes and and it's like all these like free to play. I'm like, can I just have Tetris? So kind of like, just looking around for a decent thing. And there really wasn't. I just wanted something to capture the nostalgia and play it. And so that's when I saw it. I'm like, can I just play like a version of Tetris on a Game Boy, like on a handheld, I would have settled for anything there. And so that's why for me it was, I just want to be able to play it. Nice. So yeah, playing the OG Tetris on the game, on the GBA in color like is really great, because the one that they put for Game Boy Advance, the DX or whatever, there's weird. It's like they're on the sides of the screen. They have like it's kind of like almost makes you want to go into a seizure. Like it's like all flashy and weird. Like I don't know why they had to do that. But anyways, for me that was and I even would have settled for like playing the Nintendo version. I loved it, but then again, having to get like some type of Nintendo or FPGA, hooking it up to modern TV, it's difficult, right? And so that was one of those games that Nintendo is never gonna give the license to Blaze. So I knew I had to find.
Nice, yeah, no, and you're right. I mean that particular version of Tetris, would be ridiculously hard to even like start the conversation of what is licensing for that particular version, because getting that game out was such a huge story in and of itself. And then of course the impact it made to the gaming community. Of course, Nintendo's going to lock that up, right to their system for the end of time. That version will never end up
you can't even find
like
it's even difficult just to like find a CRT and a working Nintendo that you could play. That's what's like crazy. We live in a day and age. That's why I was like, I just want any version of Tetris on a real controller. That's just not like one of those like $5 plug and plays. It's a piece of junk. Just something that's like
no, exactly. Yeah. That's pretty cool. So mine is also one of those things. It's like it's another seminal game for me, because it's the game that taught me quite literally how to drive a stick. And that game is Hard Driving. And there's nothing like it, right? There's just nothing like it. Yes, it's a quirky 3D boxy as anything, driving simulator, but there's just something about that game that captures the realness of actually driving a vehicle. And I've never felt that way playing any other driving simulator. You can play Daytona, you can play, like Mario Kart in one of those big things. You can play any of those other driving simulators and they feel okay, but they don't feel real. And Hard Driving feels like you're driving an actual car, even though nothing about it looks real. It's just a polygon and another polygon, and that's it. But it's such a great game. It's such a great game.
So if you could only have one arcade machine, that would done. That would be
100%.
That would be it. Yeah,
it would be the sit down cab, cockpit, Hard Driving, and I'd put it anywhere in my house I could fit it.
No,
Wherever,
all that stuff
wherever
out.
my wife would allow me to put that thing, that monstrosity in the house,
Right? Yeah.
I would do it. I would 100%. I would do it.
Let me
There's
ask you
no
this:
question.
what if they made an arcade one-up that had hard drive and let's say some other racing games? Would that do it, or would it have to be like an original?
As long as the steering wheel and stick shift and pedals all felt the way they feel inside of the actual real cabinet. Now, I don't know if I would trust Arcade 1-Up to do something like that, because their controls are good, but not like next level good, right?
Exactly.
I would
it's not arcade
need
quality,
next level good in order to do this experience for me, because the steering wheel had force feedback, the pedals had force feedback, and that was back in the very late 80s, early 90s when this game came out. In an arcade machine, they still had all that stuff, which is the reason why it feels so good to play that game and just kind of experience it. So yeah, you'd have to really do it good.
It'd have to be. It's funny that you mentioned that, because that's why, like, for me, like, my racing game is Daytona USA, and just sitting in there having the speakers like blasting and having all the force feedback. I hate to admit I haven't played hard drive in the arcade, but I see when I will. I see what I will though. But I know what you mean.
You got to sit down and play. It's awesome.
I think that goes for a lot of racing games in the arcade. You have that force feedback. You have the steering wheel. You have the shifter, and it's really difficult to replicate. That arcade quality at home. So yeah, no, I see when I will.
Yeah, no, 100%, because it's just such a good time. It's such a good time playing that thing.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, I mean, now that being said, if it just so happens that game lines up on something else that I can play, I mean, I'm gonna play it. I won't like, it's not the experience that I'm gonna be looking for, but I will play that game because I love it so much. But I'll play that just a score chase at that point. If I have to use a controller to play, I mean, I'd play it, but I'd still I'd score chase and then long for
Did they port that to anything like PS2, PS3?
So they ported it to the Genesis, and I actually had a copy. Back in the studio days, I had a copy of that, and I had a copy of Race Driving, which was the sequel to Hard Driving on the SNES. And then, of course, there was also a Race Driving cabinet, of course.
Can the Retron work with like with the Genesis, like steering wheel and gas pedals?
I have never tried it, but if I had a set, I would plug it in and see.
I mean, I know it's not the same thing, but it'd be easier to get. That might scratch some of that itch, man. Pop in that cart and
what a video that would be.
Yes,
that'd be cool. Yes. That'd be really cool.
I want to see that video.
Now I got to find whether or not there's a Genesis wheel out there, and does it work?
Because I never owned that. I remember like back for the PS. That's why I say PS2. I remember I had that. I had one for the Wii.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the only thing I had was like Lethal Enforcers and the light gun for Genesis, but I didn't know anyone that. I mean, I remember having Virtual Racing, but I never had the steering wheel, so that's why I'm sure it exists, at least a third party or something. But
I mean, if it's out there, I'll eventually find it.
And that would be something too that would probably be like you could probably pick up pretty cheap, because not many people actually want the steering wheel. Then you just got to find the game.
Right? Yeah. Well, you know what? If that would happen, right? Because we are doing. I don't know if you're using Virtual Cam through OBS, but I am.
Yes.
But what we could do if that did happen on a card later on, we could pop that bad boy right in the Retron. If I had the steering wheel, let's do something live, right? Because that'd be awesome.
Test it live. Yes.
Yeah. Because not just the conversations can happen, but we can just get in there and start gaming and stuff, which you guys might see in the future when we start experimenting with that kind of stuff, because it's a good time.
Matter of fact, I can guarantee if someone puts in the chat, especially something Master System that they'd like to be tested, as long as it's not like a $10,000 game or something nuts, I bet you'd probably want to test it.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. I would totally be down with that. Which would be really cool. So that is a cool segment. So now we've got two more segments. You think we got time to get through them both, or what do we think here?
they both could turn out to be long topics.
Yes, that's true. That's true. So
let's ask the chat maybe if they chat. Is there anything
sure.
you want us to talk about? We could definitely save those for next time. I mean, if no one says anything, we'll talk about it. But
that's true. Yeah.
Anyone in the chat?
So-
anything retro game related at all?
Yeah. Anything you want to talk about? Let's see.
Ian or Panda
See
or whoever.
see if we can have like a yeah.
Lorena, yeah. Come on, someone, give us something. Give us something good. Give us something else we can talk about. Because that's what we're here for.
You know what we could do while we're waiting for the chat. I can tease one of the segments
Okay.
by opening this package right now.
Go for it. Do it. Do it. I've been wanting you to do this for such a long time.
That's so. All right.
Or is this
you
a
know
different one?
It is a different one, but
Oh,
maybe
okay.
we
Okay.
can, maybe
Then
we
I
can
have no
do
idea
two.
what this is.
Maybe we can do two.
Okay. If you open this, because I know you were going to save a video. I feel honored on Karg that you're going to open it. If it's what I think it is.
Well, this one is completely different. But
Okay,
it
I
had, it
have
had
no
to do,
idea what this is.
this has to do directly with the one of the topics that was in our list.
Okay, cool.
So what these are
Oh, hey, Ian got his purple Evercade and Katie shirt.
nice.
Oh, more Miko games.
So these are Amico games. So
Nice.
right now I'm keeping my original ones sealed, but I do have a copy of Missile Command and a copy of Brain Duel.
I really like the art on that. That's awesome.
Yeah, isn't it cool?
Especially
Isn't it?
Missile Command there. That is
Yeah,
really neat.
love the Missile Command art. And they actually just did a play on that, like one of those deep dive video things that they've been doing. So anyway, I'm gonna crack one of these open right now
Oh,
because I've never seen the inside of one of these things. All 8 of the ones that I have up here, they're all sealed.
they're all sealed.
So I've never cracked one of these at all. So now we can.
Go for it.
We can crack it. So this is pretty cool to be able to do that. Yeah, here's the little lenticular card here. That's pretty neat. I don't know if you can see
Is
that.
that no? Is it 3D? Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, it does one of those like like one of those like kind of like a 3D setting.
It's difficult to do. I want to say until I saw.
Yeah, you
Was
can
it like
kinda
Classy
see it.
Gaming? Someone's video that did that. It's difficult for the camera to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
I'll
can
t- yeah.
kind of.
I'll take your. We'll take your. I'm sure. No, I know it looks cool because it's like.
But yeah, and then you've got the.
I remember baseball cards that were like that. Like.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was like they got the Donruss ones and all that kind of stuff. You got the coin here. It says Missile Command.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Okay.
There's the macro right there, and then you've got your Running Man. Now, all 8 of these apparently have a different position where the Running Man guy is in.
Ooh.
So like all 8 of those positions on the other side of the coin are different positions of the
So you could
of the thing.
you could animate them like.
Yeah, you could.
That's awesome.
So I'm wondering if that's where Pandasub got his different things for the side of his set where he does Howdy Amico.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I wonder if he screen capped one of those because he doesn't have these. But I wonder if he screen capped them and then that's how he got the Running Man things running on the side of his thing.
That's awesome.
But the tease is about this guy right here, which is the actual card.
Oh, okay.
So, and I don't know what people were complaining about. Now that I have it in my hand, they're like, "Oh, it's so thin." And it's like, this is no thinner or thicker than the RFID card that I use to get into my building
Oh, okay.
at work. And it's thicker than my actual ID badge, like the
Oh,
one that has
wow.
my picture on it.
So it's probably thicker than a credit card then, and that's pretty thick.
Just about to say.
About the same.
So
Okay.
you know how some of those credit cards you get and it's like like you get like the Chase Platinum or one of those kind of things.
Yes.
It's not like it's like but the plastic ones, not the metal ones. It's about that thick. It's not like
Oh yeah. No, that's
it's
decent.
actually
Yeah.
not. Yeah, it's not bad.
It's not
bad
like
at all.
paper thin. Yeah.
Yeah, no. And then of course there's I got the number on there, and they say that you can show a number, below this little thing here. There's a
Yeah,
number
yeah.
there. Yeah, I don't know if I trust it that much. I'm not gonna go ahead and show you
No,
guys
no,
that.
no, I wouldn't do that.
But yeah, that's a little topic tease for whenever we have time to go about that, because this will deep dive into one of those topics where we're going to talk a little bit about the N to the F to the T. So we're gonna, we'll do that maybe on another episode, but we think we got some comments in there. Oh yeah, yep. Ian got his purple Evercade and the Katie shirt. That's awesome. Like I'm hoping that mine show up, because I have one of the other Evercade, like the regular Evercade shirt thing, the one that kind of looks like the charity one that we got.
Yeah.
I got the white one of those and the Jellico cart, which will then recomplete my collection of carts, but not carts and cases. I still have, I don't know where it was, but I found a copy of Indie Heroes, but I just have the cart. I don't have the case. The case is,
So,
I don't know, somewhere.
I'm holding.
somewhere in the river.
Hey, Classy Pete. I'm holding out if they sell an Evercade mug, then I'll get the shirt because you has to be.
Yeah.
What is this?
What is this?
You had to be here for the beginning. All right, everyone. Just for Pete, we're gonna start over the broadcast.
Oh, that's it. All right, yeah. You gotta start all over. But yeah, you caught us in a live unboxing that was impromptu, because we were going to talk about a topic that we're probably going to wind up scrapping because we're going a little long on the show there. But you know what we'll do? We'll do the other unboxing. I opened Brain Duel. This is the way it looks. I opened this. So we're also opening random Amico games. That's what we do. But so this is actually has the this is like the orange one.
You know what's funny about that? Until you put it like into focus, I thought it was upside down because my brain, I'm so like used to looking at the Atari carts being like that way.
No, yeah. No,
So
but this is just like an Intellivision cart.
Yeah.
Like it's and long like the Intellivision carts.
Okay,
were.
so those were like okay.
Yeah, so you plug it in the system like that, yeah, that kind of thing. But anyway, this is the new Evercast. They kind of recorded. No, you're still hooked in. You're still what is the Evercast? You're still hooked in there, Pete. We're getting in there.
Man.
Yeah, Ian saying hi. All right, so let's do this. This is like the ultimate tease for Monday's show, because I was going to do it. I'm doing it on Monday. So if you guys are here, you can see what's going to happen in this box, and what's going to happen after I open this box is.
You're gonna have to reseal it for Monday's show.
I'm just gonna go with it. I'm gonna tease it. Maybe I'll do a little shtick about it. But
stop it, Pete.
Why is this a separate channel? I'm so confused.
I'm just trolling.
We talked about it. All right. So I'm opening this box.
I know what this is, but
not every box, but I'm opening this box.
Okay.
I've been waiting.
I see what you did there.
I've been waiting since my birthday to open this. All right. So that's almost 2.5 months that I've been waiting to open this. So
it's a real heavy
live reveal for the Bacon Ice Cream Productions channel right now. There is a game in here that I'm going to play on Monday for the first time in well over 2 decades, and I am ridiculously happy that this thing is back in my hands, and maybe the only game that I will play on a Fun for 5 on Master System Mondays for probably 2 straight months, because I just have to. Need to watch more shows before I commit. That's sold on you guys. Yeah. Thanks.
Here's my drum roll.
So are you ready? Are you ready for this? And it's got its tab. I'm afraid I'm gonna break it. Ready?
Yes.
There it is. It's Golden Axe Warrior.
Yes.
It's back. It's back in my hands.
Dude, that is, and For everyone who's not aware, in the Master System world, it's like one of the holy grails of. It's a spendy game.
It's so good,
and you've got a complete in box, all minty, dude.
It's good. It doesn't have the map, but like literally no one ever has the map. But yeah, it's the US manual, so you don't get like the huge thick one. I mean, you do get a mini map inside the inside the manual itself.
Yeah, for that game you want the manual. That just adds to the nostalgia and the coolness.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I can't so like just reading this, man. I'm gonna take my time with this one. I'm gonna take my time with it. Hey,
Ziggy played guitar.
What's going on?
I always think of that.
What's going on?
I've known about this like ever since you got that, and I was like, I've like had to like not. I've been like dying for you to like reveal that some way.
This wasn't gonna happen.
I know.
This was not gonna happen because this game is so bleeping expensive.
I know, right?
That I was like, it's like this is just it's never gonna happen in my life. And then the weekend before my birthday, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go on eBay. I'm going to go on eBay. I'm going to look and I'm going to see what happens. And if I see something and it's like kind of an okay price, maybe I'll go for it.
Zelda clone.
I mean, it is literally a Zelda clone, but but it's a really good one. Yes. But I went looking, and no lie, I found this for greater than 30% less of its normal price. Complete. I sent a message to the seller, and I was like, are you sure this is complete? Am I just going to get the box and you don't have the game? Because that makes the price make sense.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I just, I want to have this find a good home. And I'm like, sold. That home is mine.
But see, here's the great thing. Everything comes all full circle because, because of the GoFundMe and everything, that enabled you to, because of the community,
yes.
And maybe that's what inspired you to reveal it on today's show, because we talked a lot about that. So because of y'all out there, you were able to.
You guys literally helped this happen. And if I was going to start this collection again, because again, I kept saying, like, I have to start slow, right? Because like, there's no room. I can't start stacking up these Intellivision boxes and the Atari boxes and the Master System box. I can't start stacking them up again because we're gonna have to get out of here. But if I could have one game back, it was this one, because I just can't wait to play this. I cannot wait to play this.
So what's funny about this, and I know this is true, like Rich did not plan it up, because the initial question, the game quest about a certain game that you had to have in a certain format and a certain way to play it, this initially was Rich's number one choice, but I didn't want him to have to reveal it because I know he was going to. But I'm so happy that you did that. So that.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. No, I can't wait to watch you start playing that series. I think that'll be.
I'm just staring at it. Everything is so good.
Yeah. Now you can look at it, man.
I gave the guy. I never do this on eBay auctions. I gave the guy positive feedback just because the box showed up. But then, because usually I always open it to just check. You got to check, right? Especially on something like this.
Yes. Yeah.
But the pictures that he took didn't do this justice at all. The case on this is this might as well have come directly off the shelf, brand new at the store.
Oh, does it have the pull tab too?
It does have. That's what I was saying. It's intact. It's on the case, and it's not broken. So I don't want to bend it. Because I'm afraid I'm gonna break it, but it's so good.
Yeah, dude, those things things like that, that's incredible that survives. So it's
so good.
And then the fact that they wanted it to go to a good, a good home, and it was reasonably priced, and it went to the perfect owner.
Yeah, no, and there was a lot of that too. Shout out to the people who just recently restarted. It was like a health and wellness podcast. They're called the Nopal Queens. The person who is the partner of the person that was on the show, the star of that show, actually sold me on eBay the Switch or not the Switch, but the mixer that they used to do their first season of that show, and that's the one that we have here in the studio, the new studio, and it is the exact same model as the one I owned, and they gave it to me for less than their ask than the ask, which was awesome. So like again, just this community is just like nothing else, guys. You guys are awesome, and it's just amazing.
I think it's great that there are people out there in the retro community who will put things out like they don't want to lose any money, but they'll put it out for at cost or to make a little bit, if it, as long as it goes to a good home and someone's going to really appreciate it. So I think that's so awesome.
Yeah. So Pete's got a good question.
But by the minute, we should never leave this. We're sucked into this. This is our full-time.
We just live here now. We live here on this now. But seriously, I think we're going to start to try to do is we're going to shoot for every other week, and then if it gets really rolling, then maybe we can make this thing a weekly hangout spot, which would be neat.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think that's what we're going to do. So not next week. We catch you on the 4th of January. We're going to try to see if we can keep it on Tuesdays at 9. So not next week. So we'll give everybody a break, right? Because it's the middle of the holidays. That's where everyone's going on vacation and all that kind of stuff. Then we pop you back right on the 4th. And then
nice. I was going to say early January, but no, that works.
yeah. I mean that's about as early January as you can get, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So I'll be nursing wounds from the game I'm going to go to on the 2nd, because I'm a Jets fan, and they're playing the Bucks, and that's.
But I was going to say. In response to that, if you don't want to miss an episode and everything else, subscribe to our channel, right. Follow us on Twitter, and then you'll never miss when we go live. That's the best.
That's it. Because this is the one-stop shop for all of the live things that are going to be happening for this program. It's going to only exist here live in its live form. I think what might happen is if we have a cool segment or something like that we want to clip out or whatever, we might do that and then share that on our personal channels. So if we had a cool topic or whatever that is relevant and means something to to Ed's channel, and then this is our show, right? So he can clip it as much as he wants and then put it on there, and then we can clip stuff over on the bacon ice cream side and share with you guys some stuff there too. Just kind of spread the Calling All Retro Gamers love, which is cool. And of course, the show is called Calling All Retro Gamers because we are also calling you guys out there. You guys want to hang out? You guys want to chill? You guys want to talk some cool retro games? And you find out that when we're doing a show, we're like, oh, there's a topic you want to jump in there. You're a YouTuber like us. You want to hang out with us? Hit us up. Hit us up on the Twitters or the Facebooks or any of that stuff, and say, hey man, maybe we can jump in. You can even hit us up on Discord too, because we're both there.
Either on the Card account or our personal accounts. And not only that,
that's it.
Is you can all see by the intro, we reached out to various YouTubers and we want the community to be a part of this. And we do plan on having guests like people, people of interest. And the important thing is we don't care about the size of the channel or how big someone is. It's just, do we find someone interesting? Do we like their content? Do we watch them? Do they jive with what we're doing? That's all,
That's right.
That's basically it.
So come on in and jump in and chat with us and have a good time. So I think that is a natural stopping point for the show. How do you feel about it, Ed?
It's awesome.
I think this is good. This is good. This is cool. It was really awesome.
Yeah.
Did
not
get about the intro. You guys didn't put in your video. I'm calling you out right now. We talked to you on the day we announced the show to you.
Yes.
And we're like, can you do it? And you know what Crow said? He's like, I'm not saying the word retro.
Yes. Yeah. We asked y'all for. Hey, it's never.
It's all good. But yeah, so it's never too late. It's never too late because you just send us in, and then when we do the refresh, we'll do the refresh like every month or two, and then boom, we're just gonna put in the new people, and it'll be awesome. So anyway.
You know what? all I have to say is, well, we created content. Thanks for watching. Bye.
That's right. See you guys later. Thanks so much for watching.
Calling all retro gamers.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.